Hey, what's going on, champs? I'm Aaron Deliosa. Welcome to an Immigrant's Life podcast, my podcast about immigrants and immigration and everything in between. Thank you for listening and downloading the show, and thank you for supporting my dad.
Happy New Year to those who celebrated New Year. I wish 2022 is a better year for all of us than the previous years. For those who celebrated New Year, did you celebrate it with your family and friends? I hope so. I hope you had fun and I hope you enjoyed it too. As for me, I celebrated with my own family physically and with my extended family electronically. It's because that Quebec government decided to put us again on lockdown as the COVID cases are apparently rising again. It's not an ideal way to celebrate. It wasn't as good as in person, but it was better than nothing, you know? Speaking of COVID cases, I don't know if you noticed on the recent episodes, but my voice was a little hoarse, and you will hear it on this pre recorded conversation with this week's guest as well. See, the thing is, I got infected by the COVID-19 virus last December. Thankfully, it's a mild case. However, it was still a ride and a half, especially after the effects, which I still suffer from to this day. But I'm getting better, so praise God, thankfully. I actually wanted to do a solo cast episode about my COVID experience, but I'm not sure if you'd be interested with that. So, how about this? Let's take a poll. Send me what you think by contacting me on all the social media at An Immigrant's Life. And if plenty of you say you want to hear about my experience, then I'll do a solo cast about it. Deal? Enough about my sub story. Now, let's talk about the episode. This week's episode is pretty special since this week's guest is the brother of a previous guest. When I first invited him to come on the podcast, he was very reluctant. But with a little bit of persistence, he agreed, and thank God he did, because we had such a great conversation about one of my favorite topics. You want to know what that is? Well, I guess you'll just have to find out. So, without further ado, let's get into the show.
Isa, dalawa, tatlo. Today's guest is a social media support coordinator that looks like Kevin Love but plays like Andrea Bargnani. From South Italy, wearing jersey number 25, everyone please welcome Emmanuele Rotondi.
What's up, everyone? Thank you so much for having me here.
Oh man, it's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. Thank you for coming on.
Of course.
Before we start, do you want anything to promote?
Yeah, of course. Just like my brother did on the last episode, we started a social media page called The Overseas Dream. Just like you do with this podcast, we promote a lot of experiences that people have when they move to a different country. But we do a lot of more than just that. We try to obviously give each other's like support. We pretty much created a community between our Twitter, or Instagram, and our TikToks, where people can talk about their experience, can give advices, and just to laugh about it. One of the things our followers like the most is our memes, things that we can joke about, because it's a lot of times it's very relatable. Like one of our favorite memes was like, how's living abroad? It's like sometimes can be good, sometimes can be shit.
Oh, yeah, I love that one.
Pretty straightforward, and people loved it, and it's just like how I like to describe our page, The Overseas Dream. It's it's something we started about 6-7 months ago, and we really look forward for the next upcoming project that we have going on. So definitely great opportunity to promote the page in here.
Yeah, awesome, man. I mean, one of my favorite pages to follow.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, because it's funny, like you said. I love that meme. That sometimes very good, sometimes shit.
Sometimes shit, man.
Yeah, and I even stole one of your posts when I used for your brother's episode. The one, the Monster Inc. one, singing when you sing about your own language, you feel it in your soul.
Yeah, that was like also one of the people really liked, because like sometimes you go to one of those like bars or like even restaurants, and like they'll be playing like it might be a restaurant like owned by somebody from your country, and they just play these random songs that you just can't help but sing it. That happened to me in New York. A lot of the memes that we make, it's something that actually that happened to me or to my brother, and we just converted it into a meme, and they just find that it happens to a lot of people.
That's awesome. Who created the memes?
Uh, I I tried to plan most of the memes. Because as you probably saw, like I probably don't want to spend much time on social media. My brother gets a little busy with work. But also he mainly focuses on the TikTok. So he's the one usually comes up with the TikTok. We split our work in between, also because I hate recording myself. This is like the most I've ever done. I never even take a video of myself like talking on social media. So definitely the TikTok part was definitely his, and the Instagram part, like the posting, I take care of that.
Yeah, we're pretty much the same people. You won't see me a video of me on my
Exactly.
account. It's mostly just sometimes I post a picture, it's just picture. But I'm not. I don't know. I'm not that kind of person. But for the listeners, by the way, his brother is Eugenio. He's a guest few weeks ago, and it was pretty awesome. So I bugged Emmanuele. If can I call him Manny?
Of course. And then again, one of the reasons why I came in this podcast as well is because you kind of came out of your shell for our spotlight, so I had to return the favor. It meant a lot for us.
Oh man, no.
I had to make sure. I put that. I said that into the podcast as
Oh,
well.
thank you. I appreciate it. I mean, hey, I'm here to help as much as I can. That's what we're trying to do here.
Appreciate it. I mean, that's the same from our. We don't beg anyone like coming to our spotlight. A lot of the times that they ask us to be in it, and that means so much to us because
Mm.
we know we don't have a lot of followers. We know we're just starting out, but you had to start somewhere, and
Mhm.
what we want to do, we want to share their stories. We want to support each other because there's people that are still going through this process, people that are just starting out. I'm 9 years in, my brother is 8 years in, so we have a little bit of experience, and that was one of the main motivation why we decided to start this. So supporting each other is my parents always says being nice is free, it doesn't cost us a penny. So um it's the right thing to do, at least for us.
Yeah, exactly. Let's talk about the overseas dream later and everything else. But for
Of
now,
course.
we want to focus on you, Emanuele or Manny. Obviously, you grew up in Montesarcio. So how was it to grow up in Montesarcio?
uh it was tough at times because Montesarchio, my brother calls it a village because we have 15,000 people,
Hmm.
but it feels like one block because everybody knows each other's. You grow up with the same people. Even me and my brother growing up, we kind of had the same group of friends. A lot of times we would go out together because we're so very close in age. Um, so that can feel really claustrophobic. It did feel for me because when something happened, like everybody finds out, everybody knows, and you get those looks. And so that was the one side. The other side, it was great because it was such a slow pace. Everything you get to enjoy, the little things that
Mhm.
I feel like I haven't really done much ever since I've been in New York. Um, and just in general, just the little things. It's a little small town in southern Italy, so a lot of things are very much taboo, or if they're now part of the ordinary, people will judge it. For example, I used to play basketball growing up, and every kid to my age will play soccer, and
Mm.
everybody's like, oh, you would be a perfect goalkeeper, 6'2", why don't you play as a goalkeeper? At the time I didn't like soccer. I mean, I love watching soccer, huge Napoli fan, but playing it, I play for fun. I never thought I could play it, and I never liked it at the time. I love basketball. Space Jam was my favorite movie. Manu Ginobili was one of my favorite players watching growing up. And I wanted to play basketball. I wanted to, I always wanted to pursue maybe a career with it. So I've been playing it since I was 5, and
Mm.
um, so it's been a lot of ups and downs for sure.
Yeah. So who introduced you to basketball?
Michael Jordan with the Space Jam. My mom, she brought a VHS tape of Space Jam,
Hmm.
and I think like for the first like 6 months, I played it every night. Like I'll play in my bedroom, and then she bought me a little basketball, so I will play it and try to emulate his moves. Like I was obsessed with that movie.
Really?
Yeah.
And there was a league in your town?
Um. Yes and no. So like we didn't have like basketball was not a thing in my town growing up. You know, no one watched basketball. No one cared about basketball.
Hmm.
And there was another small town about 10 minutes drive from us.
Yeah.
So my mom would drive. My mom and dad like they would drive me there, or my grandparents like they would have to drive me there. You can walk. I couldn't walk to practice because there was no one by it. So it meant a lot for me because also like they understood my passion. They wouldn't just shut it off like some parents would do. And it gave me the opportunity to discover more about the game. You know, like meeting other people that were kind of going through the same thing. That like, you know, they didn't want to play soccer; they wanted to play basketball, and
Mhm.
it was just great.
What did basketball offers that football didn't offer you?
Um, I think I just enjoy it better. You know, like I guess like I mean I didn't see myself like kicking a ball. Like I really like the fact that like you know I could sure I touch it with my hand.
Hmm.
And just like I always wanted to dunk. I always thought like dunking was so cool, like dunking the basketball.
Hmm.
When I saw Michael Jordan do it, obviously like I was like, I mean, I want to do that.
And can you dunk?
Oh no, no, I did a few times in my life. I was able to do it, but I never had that like what they call in New York. I never had hoops like to like jump as high that
Oh
I could
yeah.
do on a regular basis. You know,
Oh, I
like
know.
a lot of kids here make it look very easily. Unfortunately, I was one of them. The few time I feel like I was on top of the world when I was like I finally dunked the basketball.
Hmm.
And I was like, yep, that's it.
That was it.
My back is shut.
What position did you play?
So because I was very tall in my town, I always play a center.
Hmm.
But then growing up, you know, I stopped growing around like freshman year of high school, and all the kids obviously keep growing. So like obviously guarding 7 feet tall kids wasn't as easy. So I moved more into a small forward position.
Okay.
But most of my life when I was a kid, I was a center because I was always the biggest kid or the tallest kid.
Oh, awesome. I play basketball too. It's my sport.
I mean, it's very big in the Philippines.
Oh yeah, there's in Brazil it's football, in the Philippines basketball.
Yeah. That's actually one of the things me and my partner, like her parents are originally from the Philippines.
Oh, okay.
And they moved to New York about 20, 30 years ago. And me and her dad is one of the things we bond the most about because he's a huge like, but he's like, I will tell him about one players in the Filipino league. He will tell me all his stats if you play in the NBA. Like he's a big basketball fan.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, we love basketball, man. It's the only thing that we pretty much play. I mean, obviously, we used to play in baseball and softball, the football, but man,
Volleyball is
basketball.
pretty big as well in the
Volleyball, yeah,
Philippines.
but it's basketball in the end,
Yeah, of course, basketball is huge in the
you know.
Philippines for sure. I'm trying like Filipino culture in general, like over the you know I've been with my partner for about for 5 years now, a
Hmm.
little bit more, 5.5. And because I'm by myself here, like I've been around her family a lot. You know, I pretty much like they treat me as a part of their family, and I'm learning a lot, like you know about their traditions,
Hmm.
about like you know their food. I mean, I love like lumpias. Like I know this is like the most simplest like Filipino food, but lumpia is like my favorite food. Like her
Hell yeah.
mom makes amazing lumpias. Like
By the way, for the people that's listening, lumpia is like Shanghai roll, pretty much. But
but better,
exactly, way better,
way
way
better.
better. I think Jokoi has a joke about it. The comedian Jokoi that's saying like,
Yeah,
Shanghai roll's good, but lumpia's the shit, man.
basically, yes.
Yeah,
He's
stay
a
away.
great. He's a big foodie. He's a big foodie.
Oh yeah, okay. So, did you go to college in Italy or only high school?
So what I did was when I was my second year in high school, I wanted to take basketball a little more serious.
Hmm.
So, but my parents didn't want me to give up on school. That's like that was non-negotiable for them. So I had to find something that would accommodate both. And I found this team in a city called Prato, which is like 30 minutes from Florence. But it's like 10 minutes train, like, right. And they had like kind of a high school college where like kids will like sleep there, go to school there, and then in the afternoon I'll go to practice. And I was 16 at the time, but I was like, I want to do it. You know, like I feel like it's the right time for me to like live on my own. I thought I knew so much. Like when I was like 16, it was 12 years ago. So I played basketball there for 1 year, and then I went to another team still in the same area in region. I went to another city called Empoli, played basketball there. I want to say I was pro because obviously I was going to school and I was still like I had to buy my own things, and I practiced with the team and going to the games. So it was pretty much my main focus. Then I was playing the version of varsity that US has. So I did that up until my senior year of high school, where I was playing with teams in Rome, teams in other cities in Italy, which was a great experience. But then again, like I graduated high school. I didn't want to go to college in Italy. I did not want to go to university. I didn't want to go to university at all. But I still wanted to try to play basketball. So I practiced. I did a lot of practice on my own. I was going to the gym, do swimming, like to keep my physique, and then go shoot the basketball on my own, do drills. And then one of my biggest dreams, especially because of Space Jam, was like in the NBA. Was like I wanted to live in the US. It wasn't even like I want to play in the NBA, because at the time I already knew that was probably very hard, because a lot of kids on my age were already doing a lot of more things than me. But I was like, I want to live in the US. That was like my biggest dream, and I find a way to like put together, like I found a community college upstate New York, in a city called Loch Shildrick, which is about 3 hours from New York City. And I submit my tape, and they sent me there for a tryout. But that was like we can't give you like, because it's a JUCO, which is like a junior college. They don't give you like they can give you academic scholarship. They can help you out in that sense, but you're not gonna be on the team right away. So I went there. I try out, and then the coach, like pretty much the coach left. A new one came, and he didn't like me at all. So he pretty much got cut. And that was like the time for me. I was like, I've been playing basketball for like 15 years at the time. I was 20 years old. I moved across the country. I was like, I'm not going back. I was like, as much as basketball was my dream, and like, yes, like it's not gonna be my profession. I'm not gonna play basketball. Like, I can't give up now. I can't just do that and like, put myself in a corner. Like I gave myself a day to be depressed. Then I was like, I get up, and I keep my scholarship. I got a job that will pay my room and board as a resident assistant. And then I went I graduated from a community college, and then I went to a 4-year in New York City, in Queens, St. John's University. That's where I also met my partner. And everything like just clicked from there. Like I knew I wanted to stay in the US. I wanted to have a life here, but I knew I had to work 2, 3, 4, 5 times as hard as people work from here. Because not anything was given. The US, very expensive country, but just you by yourself. No one's gonna watch your 6. I was lucky enough that for a good 4 or 5 years, I had my brother in the US as well, and we were helping each other. But we were going through the same process together. There were still times, as you say, in the episode where he was like, there was things that. I was lucky, and I had to ask for help. Like that was the same for me. Like we couldn't ask each other help because we didn't know how to file an I-20, a W-4, file for applying for scholarships, things like that. Like we were both came from the same town. It's things we had to figure out on our own, and that was fine. You can rely on you can't always rely on someone else as well. So I think it was a good balance for a while where we will help each other, but we had to figure out our own stuff.
That's awesome, man. Yeah. You said that you moved into a small town. How do you think immigrating to a small town helped with your adjustment to American life?
It did not.
No, okay.
It was completely different. I mean, because I also went from a small town to a city like New York City, where we're like 8 billion people, like 8 million people, like
Hmm.
big city. You never meet the same person twice. Everything is so fast paced. Like you gotta go here, then you get there, and like where in Italy, like like you wake up at certain times. Like the pace is very slow. And I think I was very used to that life. I think what helped me the most about like my life in the US was my life in Florence. Like the 2 years that I spent in Florence, where like I had a schedule, waking up at 6, practice, school, going practice. Like that schedule helped me more adjust to the New York life because it made me disciplined about how I had to adjust my day. I feel like if I stay in my small town and then I came to New York, then it would have been a bigger culture shock that I already had. And I seen people like that. We met people from Italy that came from other small towns, and they couldn't do it. They went back to their towns because it's very expensive, it's very fast paced, and it's hard. It's a hard life. Like in a small town, you go out on the weekends, you go see people. There's a lot of weekends I was in the library studying. I couldn't go out because I couldn't even eat a lot of weekends. So let alone like going out, like that was never an option. So it was different, and you had to know what you were sacrificing, and I wouldn't have known that if I just stayed in my town.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. How was your English then?
I none zero. I didn't know how to speak English when I first came to the US.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I at least like I'm gonna joke about this. Like at least my brother, like he tried to study the grammar.
Mhm.
I just like I would just wing it. It couldn't be that hard. Such a It was the longest 6 months of my life. I couldn't talk to anyone. I had to point at things to get my point across. Like you probably see people talking shit about you in front of you, and like you couldn't say shit because you couldn't understand. Like
You just smile.
all yeah, you just smile and nod. But that was also something that now I can talk about. Now I can laugh about it, but definitely not something you could laugh about back then,
Yeah, it was rough.
for sure.
I mean, I like this idea that somebody mentioned to me, like that, let's say a good example is you, right? You're the Italian Manny and then the American Manny. They are completely different people, but they're almost the same.
Yeah.
What do you think of that?
Um, I mean, it's funny because that was also a meme in our page where like we put the guy from Split, and the meme was like when people say that you act different in your new country,
Mm.
like that wasn't me. That was Patricia. Like that's true. Like you build a whole new character, but that's the great thing about moving abroad. You kind of reinvent yourself. You see
Mhm.
things that you want to improve, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. Like saying like you're making a fake life for yourself. It is your life. This is your new life, and this is you decide how you want to live your new life.
Mhm.
Um, I came to New York, and the one thing like I'm very proud of myself is like I became a lot more open minded. There's so many new cultures in New York. There's so many like ethnicity, new types of food. I'm so ashamed to say like I never even had any Asian food before I came to the US. Like I never had Chinese food, Thai, Viet, Filipino, like any of that. And then I had all of them in New York. Like now, like it's like a weekly thing. Like we had Thai like last week, and we had Filipino for Thanksgiving. Like
Mhm.
it's a no, now it's a no, but it's not like little things like that. Like the old Jew, like or the people, the one from back home, like would have never had it. So I think it's a very true thing, but it's not a wrong one. I think it's something that you a lot of times that you learn, and you're still growing, so that's totally normal.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and it's not a problem, but it's a challenge that, let's say you go back home, me see your friends, start chilling with them, and then they'll be like, "You're different. There's something different about you." Yeah, I moved.
I grew up.
Exactly.
Join me.
Join me. Let's do something else. Do something cool. Which is, I find it hard. I find it, yeah, a bit hard that when you come back home and you'll be like, "Hey guys, what's up?" And then you feel like they're not involving you as much. Did you feel that?
Yes and no. I mean, I, the one thing you probably like notice to me is like I'm a very simple guy. Like, so it's like a lot. It's either this way or that way. There's no in between.
Mhm.
It's life is too short. Like I want to. I live my life I want it. So with my friends back home, like I knew them for like 20 years. I knew them for more than half of my life.
Hmm.
So a lot of times when we go home, we don't skip a beat. I talk to them still when I'm in New York, but they also understand that things are different now. Like, and it's not like just because I live abroad, but it's a different thing. When we first knew each other, it's like we were like kids. Like
Mhm.
we didn't have jobs. Like we would just spend the afternoon like go play soccer at the park, like going out, like now,
Chasing
like
girls.
yeah, now like I have a job, like I pay my own taxes, like
Mm.
um I have my own expenses that to my hair gray, like like things like things like that. Like a lot of times I don't identify that with my friends back home because my friends like back home have a different pace of like how they're growing up.
Mhm.
Like some of them, and not in a negative things, but it's just a different thing. Like they obviously like some of them still live with their parents, some of them are still in school because they take their time trying to figure out what they want to do, and
Mhm.
that's fine. But they know that it's not me, and they're never gonna win or no even have an argument with me on that because there's nothing to argue about. It's just the way I see the world, and it's completely different. It's just a way of respecting it. Like
Mhm.
we have debates about other things. Like but when it comes of these things, it's just non-negotiable for me. Like if you can't take me this way, then we just might as well just not be friends. I'm a little
Yeah,
bit more straightforward with that.
yeah, most definitely. I like that perspective. So you mentioned that you went to St. John to become a Red Storm. Is it because you love basketball?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, for me, like because I lived upstate New York, for community college, I wanted to try the city life.
Mm.
And I was also a sports management major in college. So
Mm.
I think the best way for me to combine my love for sports and also like see a competitive team was St. John's, because it was either like going to St. John's or going to Syracuse. But Syracuse was not in the city,
Mm.
and I was not gonna go further. Like further than I was, you're pretty much in the border with Canada where you are.
Yeah.
So and it gets cold. Like it gets cold. I've been to Montreal. It gets cold. It is not Montreal cold, but it gets cold upstate New York. And I didn't want to do that, and I wanted to try the city. That was my biggest thing. Also, my brother was there. We wanted to move in together and live together,
Mhm.
to help each other, like in any sort of way. So St. John's is definitely the best fit. I've had some of the best years of my life. Met besides like not just my partner, but I met some of my closest friends that I still see every day. I talk to every day.
Mm.
Definitely an experience that doesn't really match with a lot of experience that I had.
That's amazing. Let's swerve a little bit. I want to ask you something. Do you have an opinion with Italian men stereotypes?
Um, I hate when it's enhanced the way that the Americans do. Like, uh, what do I say this like without sound like too corny? But so, for example, like there's a lot of people like now, like on TikTok, that make these stage videos of them like reacting with the cross or like with the hand about people breaking the spaghetti, like, and I get it with the channel, like everybody, it's on their business. Like it's not my role to judge. You do what we
Mm.
do, but it's just like, why would you like encourage this stereotype to me? Like
Mm.
like I mean I don't know if you saw the same with like people in the Philippines on TikTok, but like for me, just like it's also like in the US especially, like things like I always make sure to say that like a person from Italy, it's not the same of an Italo American, because growing up being in Italian family, but growing up in a different country, you get your own tradition, and that's fine. But that doesn't make you like embrace the Italian stereotype. That's the Italo American one. I think I can go on for hours on that topic, but I think like there's obviously some stereotypes can be true, but I don't think it's also fair to emphasize or encourage them because I don't like putting everybody in a box, and that's with every culture, every race, everything. Like I think it's never fair to put one person in one box.
Yeah, you put up a question saying like, "Oh, why would someone do that?" Don't Obviously the easiest thing is like they're trying to get the views, they're trying to get the clicks.
I mean, I'm not. Yeah, again, I'm not here to judge. You do what you do, but I just wish there was a different way. Like for me, like again, like okay, maybe you want to embrace a stereotype, you joke about it. Like people have different sense of comedy. Again, like for example, Joy Coy, like a lot of people in the Philippines don't like him, and that's fine because people will like you, people will hate you. It's just the way the world goes.
Mhm.
For me, like it's when they gotta fake the accent, like, and that's in everyone. Like I seen like Filipino like TikToker. I seen like Greek TikTokers that like they gotta emphasize, make these fake accents, like that you don't speak English properly, like, and it just like it kind of like mocking people that like have that accent and like are trying to get their point across, and they're being laughed at, and I personally have a problem with that. That's just my opinion. It's my 2 cents. Honestly, like you can give a shit about it. You don't, like, it's obviously just my opinion.
Yeah, of course. Again, like I said, it's for the click. And say let's like me, I speak fluent Filipino or Tagalog, right? So when I see a video like that of people trying to make fun of the accent, I know a Filipino will not construct a sentence that way. That is an English thinking person translating it to Filipino. You know what I mean? So that's when I know, like, okay, that's a Filipino would not say that. It wouldn't make sense.
But even there, like for me, it's more like people are actually struggling, like with an accent, like be make fun of, or
Mhm.
that's just an accent. But if you don't speak like that, well, what would you emphasize? Why would you embrace
Mhm.
that side? Like I don't know.
I
I,
agree. Are
it
you?
can
Mhm.
this can be a whole episode just about this. Obviously, like
I can see the fire in your eyes is just like glowing.
no, I mean it more like a lot of the great thing about the US, like a lot of people embrace the immigrant. The
Mm.
shitty thing about the US, a lot of people like make fun of them or despise them, and that's like the one side I will never agree with the US. And one of the reasons why I also want to study like the pages is because like diversity, like immigration, like experts, like like different is good. Like it's something we should embrace, not something we should make fun of, or like, and these people should not be encouraged. This
Definitely.
other, yeah, like that's the way I see it.
Are you conscious of your accent? Like, does it bother you?
Uh I think I learned how to live with it. I used to be a lot more self-conscious. I used to hate when people like repeat repeat what I say like with my accent. Like it's like I accept the shit out of you. But I
Mm.
think now like I'm okay with it. I know it is. It makes you who I am. Like
Yeah, hells yeah. That's your
uh,
spice.
yeah, that's my soul. So I think I'm okay with it. And then I also like I just find you ask me that because, for example, my mom, like when I talk to them now in Italian, like she keeps saying that I lost my accent, my Italian accent. So it's just like, which one is it, woman? Like, which is people? Like, let's all get together. Like, it's
Mm.
like, do I have an accent or like do I lose mine? Like, let's get together and decide.
Nah,
Um,
it's by person.
yeah, it's about perspective. That's why I live with it because, to be honest, like you can't put too much weight on people's opinion. You just gotta do you.
Exactly. But like, I think I told this story before. I'm telling it again. Like when I moved here, I speak decent English, I'll say,
Okay.
and I didn't speak for a long time because I wanted to learn how Canadians speak, how the cadence of the English, right? So I didn't speak for like a long time, maybe let's say 3 months or so, you know.
Oh wow.
And then and then I finally figured out like how they speak, and I started speaking that way, like quote unquote Canadian, right? And most of my friends they're from the Caribbeans, right? So when I start talking to them like quote unquote Canadian, they say, what's wrong with you? Why are you sounding like that? You don't sound like that. You don't sound Filipino at all, you know?" And then I realized like, yeah, actually I could make them I will mix them. I could speak Canadian wise and then put some spice in it, my Filipino accent, you know? So there's some words that I really put extra spice on it, and I'm proud of it.
Yeah, and that's what makes you, like, and it's amazing. Like, I'm surprised you went 3 months if you already spoke English. I would not give a shit. So that's kudos to you, man.
No, it's just I didn't. I just wanted to learn how to. I want to assimilate, to be honest. You
That's
know,
fine. That's especially if you're in a new country, like you try to fit in. That's totally fine.
exactly, and also the confidence. You know, like I could
Yeah.
speak English, but I didn't. I wasn't really that confident. You know, but I was good. I was decent. I always remember when I was new here, people used to go to me and they say, "Were you born here?" And I'll be like, "No, dude, I moved here like a month ago." And then they'll say, "Why do you speak like we speak, and you don't speak like them?" And I'll be like, "No, I speak like them, but no, 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 you speak different. You're different." I was like, "All right, whatever."
Yeah.
It's
If you
just
had a pen,
craziness.
if you had a cent for every time you you got told
You
that.
know what I mean? Let's get back to basketball.
Okay,
I love
let's do it.
basketball. All right, your first five all time.
Oh man, you can't do that to me.
Yeah, man. Of course. That's one thing. I got excited when I started doing the research about you. I'm like, oh, he played basketball. We're gonna go deep.
Oh, I
You want me to
mean,
go first?
yes,
All
please.
right, I'll go first. Shaq,
Obviously.
Bird,
Okay.
Magic, Kobe, and then Jordan.
Okay. Solid.
Mm.
Okay, I think mine would be very similar to yours, except like for me, like I try to make a list of people I actually watched play.
Mm.
Um, so I don't have Bird and Magic in mind because I didn't grow up in that era.
Mm.
Like I barely grew up in Michael Jordan's era. I went back and watched Michael Jordan's games because I was so obsessed with him.
Mm.
But like he was already retired. Like he already retired once. Like when I was born. So but he's the GOAT, so he has to be in that list.
Mm.
Shaq and Kobe, 100. Like not even a debate. Then LeBron James, obviously, and I'm a LeBron James hater, so that's says a lot about me. And then Tim Duncan, hands
Oh,
down.
Timmy, 21, baby.
Yeah, man.
That's
I
solid
had to,
lineup. I like it.
5 rings. Like they don't put respect on my name just because he's quiet, man. They don't
Yeah,
put the respect on that man.
exactly. Do you talk shit when you play?
Me, not verbally. I don't really like talking shit, but I'm very competitive. So
Mm.
like I will probably like try to do the most sometimes.
Hmm. Yeah,
Playing basketball, like I'll try to push a little extra, or trying to get more like competitive.
yeah.
But talking shit is not. It takes energy that you can use breathing. So,
But some people they use it as their energy source.
especially in New York, they love that shit.
Oh,
That's the probably
definitely.
most people play basketball just for that. I'm
Yeah,
convinced.
most definitely. I don't really talk shit, but if somebody talks shit to me, that's when I go.
I don't know if I would do it. I think last time somebody talked shit to me playing basketball,
Hmm.
I think I got more physical, which is probably wrong because like I was just trying to get him mad. But
Uh-huh.
verbally, nah, because I'm so concentrated like breathing and make sure I win that I don't have time to like talk shit back.
Look at this, so professional. I'm busy breathing. Leave me alone.
Man, I even like for example now I will definitely not talk shit because I haven't touched the basketball in 2 years.
2 years. Okay, wow.
Uh,
Man, I was gonna
I
ask you that actually.
Yeah, because So my old job, we used to have a basketball night, and we play basketball against my coworkers, and I used to have so much fun until, funny enough, that was like my last week working there. But I was like, I want to go play basketball because it's gonna be my last time playing with these dudes. Like, I go for a jump, I land on the guy's feet, twist my ankle.
Oh my God.
My ankle became like the size of a basketball. And obviously, like and then that was the same time. Then literally like 2 months later, I shot my back. It just everything went downfall after that. So I want to go back. I want to go back, but like I will never play full court basketball. Like probably like almost. Let's just say like most likely not gonna be for a while at least. I will be a half court.
I don't believe you.
I want it to be a half court force for sure.
I don't believe you. I know because you're a hooper. You start getting there, you start feeling good, you start hearing that swish. That's it. You're gone.
Yeah, that's why I haven't played also that long because I'm still not there. You know, like I have so many like over this past couple of years, I have a lot of physical problem. Like my ankle and then my back, especially. Like I had to do physical therapy. I still had to do a lot of I get days, especially when it's like somehow when it's cold, my back is shot. Like I can barely move it, and that's a problem. Like I'm always scared that when I play basketball, that will happen to me. So I've been taking it easy, but I definitely want to get back out there for sure. Definitely want to. I miss it for sure, but I think I'm okay for now.
Yeah, I love it. I still play. I mean, I don't play competitively anymore because I'm not going to the NBA. Why?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I do have a house league and it's decent. We get good runs and I just love it.
I would love to do that. I think hopefully the next couple of years. It's something I haven't really done in New York, just because like the people I used to play basketball with, like they still probably think they want to make the NBA. They play like these crazy leagues where like I don't know, like they have like a coach for some reason, even though like I don't know, like it gets too much, and I don't like that. I don't like because I left the organized basketball. Like I just want to go play with my friends. I play a pickup. I don't want to play with strangers like that. Or if it's a league, I want to play with like people that are probably my same physical condition. So and they like that gets too much. I'm hoping to find someone like that. Like even to play soccer, I haven't been able to find anyone to play a pickup soccer game.
I'm sure it's not hard. I mean, you're in New York. I'm sure there's like leagues.
Yeah, but also require time. That's something that I usually don't have.
You don't have them, yeah, for sure. So since we're talking about this, how did you take it when you realized you won't be able to get to the next level of your basketball career?
I mean, I was very sad. Like again, like I said, but it took me. I gave myself a day to be really sad and be depressed and all that. But at the time, I didn't really have time to be sad. Like because I wanted to stay in the U.S. I need to keep my visa, my scholarships. So yeah, I didn't have the time to do all that. So I guess it never really hit me that hard. And I think I was already slowly realizing, like, between conversation with friends, my family, like every time we were talking about what's next, like I feel like whenever I see a plan, like the basketball plan was like fading more because the lifespan of a basketball player, as you know, like it's very short already. Like if you're in good health, like maybe you get in your early 30s, but most likely like you'll be done by then already. And then the what's next, like it was very scary to me. It's like, because I hate coaching. I would never done coaching. Like I wouldn't have done anything that basketball related, like physical trainer, anything like that. So I wanted to. That's when I started. That's why I also went to college because I wanted to figure out what I wanted to do in that sense. That it wasn't connected to basketball. So once I was done with basketball, like I did not want to be around it for a while. So it's
Really?
also like, yeah, I don't know. It's just one of these things, like because like in high school I used to put so much pressure on myself. Like I wouldn't a lot of times I wouldn't smoke, I wouldn't drink. I would limit myself a lot. Like I was taking it as like a lot of times like I should have been happy to go to practice, make my game better. And for me, it was like going to a job. That's when I realized also that maybe the basketball shouldn't be my future, because if it was affecting my mental health like that, like it should never get to that point, I think. So I think it was probably like I'm a big believer that everything happens for a reason. Let's just say like that. So I think he had to go this way. And I don't want to live a life of regret. So I'm okay with it. I'm at peace.
Yeah, that's awesome. I was just pretty much the same when I kind of reached that level that I knew I could reach. I was like, I was okay with this. I'm fine with this. All I want is this anyway. That's it. But I see.
Exactly.
I like when you're saying earlier that you're like, oh, I still play. Some guys that I used to play with, they still have trainers and whatnot. I'm like, I sometimes I play with older guys, old guys, and they'll be like, like playing hard. I'm like, yo, we're not making the NBA soon.
Yeah, we're not getting paid for this.
hmm
Like,
Exactly. Relax a little bit. Yeah, let's be competitive, obviously, but we're not making
yeah,
the NBA.
but yeah, there's no reason to like get into fights and all that.
Exactly.
I don't know, like, yeah, for me, I rather right now, like, I'm investing my time in things that I'm a little bit more passionate. Like, that's another thing with basketball. Like, I never allow myself to find other passions, and I think that was also wrong.
Mm.
And now, like, ever since I've been in New York, like, I'm finding so many other passion. Like this overseas dream. Like little things like I love TV shows. I love watching shows. I love anime. I love looking at the stock market. I love like learning about companies, how they get acquired, like things like that. That
Mm.
I never allow myself to put time or effort into it when I was just doing basketball. So I think everything in my sense like worked out, because I will never had the opportunity to discover this thing if I still had that mentality of 5-6 years ago.
Yeah, most definitely. I read that you work for the MSG company. How was that experience?
Uh that was a great experience. I mean, I was just an intern, an associate actually. And I worked there for like a little less than a year. It was like a dream come true, because at Mrs. Square Garden, it's like the Mecca. It's for basketball, especially. Like my first time watching a game, that was like crazy. I was like, I was in shock, and then being able to work there, work games, and seeing how many things go on in that arena. Because I now I've been there like for basketball games. I've been there for hockey games. I've been there for St. John's plays there as well.
Mm.
And even for concerts. I think concerts is just like a thing you must do. I feel like if you live in New York and you want to see MSG, I think it's an experience. It's a must do. Very expensive experience. It can be that experience, but worth it for
That's
sure.
awesome. Did you have the chance to interact with the players?
No, it's you. They have a lot of strict rules. And especially when you work, you want to be professional. So yourself, you should never. You see a lot of famous people, but by a far, like, and I think that's like that's one of the things about like working in this behind the scene. Like you don't bother these people. These people don't want to be bothered. You don't want to bother them, and
Mm.
I think that's fair, because if you're the other way around, you'll feel the same way.
Yeah, I'm sure. Like I love comedy, and sometimes I go to shows, and they have those like meet and greet. I'm like, I don't want to bother them.
I feel like that. I feel that. Like when I go to small concerts too, and they have a meet and greet with the artists, like I hate standing in that line and talk to somebody that probably doesn't even want to talk to me. It feels like
Yeah,
a very intimate. Just like I don't know. I never understood, but it's part of the business, I guess.
yeah. I remember I used to work for this company that deals with artists, so we can get free tickets for shows, right? Like concerts.
Nice.
And sometimes I get VIP. I could go in the back and say hi and whatnot, right? But I never like it because what are you gonna say? Good job playing the guitar.
Yeah, or like, hey, like great job. Yeah, like I feel that. I had a similar experience when I went to a Netflix premiere for a show, and all the actors and actresses were there, like we're literally standing next to them, and like I don't know, like everybody has this need to take a picture with them, take a selfie, and like I was just like I feel weird because it's just like, man, like the people get bothered all the time. Like I don't know, like for me to take a picture with these people, it will have to be in a scenario where we're like maybe we're at an event together, like things that it wasn't that was one of those settings, and I don't know, I wouldn't let bother it. So especially because I'm a pride person, I hate when people bother me, so I feel them. So
Yeah, I mean, let
100%.
them do their job and then you do your job kind of deal.
Yeah.
So you accomplish a lot of things. What accomplishment are you most proud of?
Surviving this far in New York. When we mentioned like when I came here, I didn't speak any English. I had so many times I was just like, let's just leave. Like, why are we staying here? But I'm really proud of myself of like, staying there, getting through college, getting a job, like become independent. That was probably my biggest accomplishment. And because I know the sacrifices that I made, that my family made, and it wasn't all for nothing. So I think, and I don't feel accomplished 100% because I do think that there's still a lot I want to do, and there's a lot I want to accomplish. And I'm not just talking about like the overseas dream, but also like on a personal level, there's things that I want to accomplish that I feel I haven't got there. I don't like to talk about my accomplishment as much, just because like I'm so tunnel focused on the things I still want to accomplish.
Of course, of course. So if Italy offered the same opportunities that America does, would you have travel still or move?
Oh, hell no! Like it's funny you asked that question because me and my partner were talking about like, oh, I would love to live in Italy for a year because she was born and raised in New York. She's a New Yorker, but like her whole life, so she wouldn't mind having that experience. But it just would be too different for me. Like I would just not be like. I remember this summer, to give you an example, like we went to Venice. We went to a wedding and then we went to Venice. It was the first time for me as well. And like because everything is on the water, like they have a water bus. You take the water bus from one stop to another. But like going from a New York bus that like swings to traffic, like cuts red light, to a boat that goes 6 miles an hour. Like I'm just like, if I had to do this every day, like I'd probably jump out of this boat and like I don't know, like like it just, to give you an example, it's just like it's so different. And like without even going into the like how the people perceive certain things, it's just like the pace is just so different. I am looking to move, but it will be within the US. It wouldn't be like to go back to Italy for sure. Like I think that ship has sailed for now. Maybe like never say never, but I don't think I will be back in Italy anytime soon.
I guess I'm not gonna expect you in Canada because it's cold in here.
I thought about it, like we thought about like Toronto. It's just too cold, man. Canada gets too cold. I can't do
cold.
New York cold. This is too cold for me now. And we only just got to like 25 degrees. Like this is like summer in Toronto, like for some place.
That's Fahrenheit, right?
Fahrenheit, yeah.
Okay, yeah. But yeah, it gets cold here. Toronto, yeah, it gets cold, but not that cold compared to Montreal. Montreal really gets cold. Like
I've been to Montreal. Yeah,
I've
been in. But my brother as well. He's been there in the summer. I've been there in March, end of March, April. It was really cold. I never experienced. That's all like. That's all like. I knew that Canada wasn't for me. Like like I've been everywhere. I every time I go somewhere, I want to make sure that I go to the places where like not just the touristy spot, but where the locals go. And like just walking around, no one walks around. you guys live in those malls, like those tunnels, and
Mhm.
like I remember it was so cold that like I would just run to the next building. Like it was just not for me. Like and I had nothing bad to say on Montreal. Like even like when I went to your guys' version of Little Italy, like Le Petit Patrie, like I loved it. It was so nice, very homey, but like feeling. But it's not for me for sure. Like I couldn't
Yeah.
deal with the cold.
Don't come in March. Why would you come in March?
I was on spring break from college, and I just didn't want to like just sit around and my cousin, like, she also immigrated from Italy, but to Montreal. She was already there for like 5, 6 years.
Mhm.
So I went to visit her. And like, so I stayed because I was staying for free at her apartment. And also because like I took a bus from New York to Montreal.
Mhm.
I wanted to do it. I was like, fuck it. Like, how cold can I didn't expect to be that cold. Like, I would probably came more prepared. I wasn't prepared for that cold.
Okay, so you underestimated it.
Yes, 100%.
It gets cold. I mean, now it's starting now. I mean, like those videos on internet, people like boiling water they throw in the air and it goes
Yeah.
down. It's becomes snow. That's how cold it is.
Yeah, I remember our cousin used to send us videos of like she buys fruit at the market, but usually like it will go in the fridge, but she has to keep it on her table
Mhm.
because like in the fridge will froze.
Mhm.
Or like uh little things like they will instead like things that you put on the counter, you put in the fridge because then it will froze on the table. Like little things are there, like because it gets so cold in Canada.
Okay, I don't know about that. I don't know where she's living. We have heaters in the house.
No, not the heaters, but I know like the little things outside, like they were froze. Like when you
Oh,
go
yeah,
outside your
yeah,
car.
outside. Yeah. That's a one actually mistake we had when we moved here because my mom bought like sodas, like Coke and whatnot. And we were like, it's cold outside, let's put it outside. So we put it outside, all of them
Yeah,
pop.
yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, exactly. So what is the next big thing you want to accomplish?
Uh, I guess like if I had to put it into like reading goals, I well right now like moving out of New York, it's my biggest thing right now. I think I've reached a point where I experienced what I wanted to experience in New York, and I want to try it live somewhere else in the
Mhm.
US. Um, and then the second one, obviously, it's I want to make the overseas dream the place where not just where people can see content that is tailored for them,
Mhm.
but just a place where people can go and they can just feel like they're being listened to it. People they've been understood, because uh, the message we're trying to get across in our page is it's not just like you're choosing the dream somewhere else.
Mhm.
It's that the American dream that a lot of us that live with can happen anywhere. Like it doesn't have to. It's not just one place. It's everywhere. Like it's what you make of it, and that's what we try, and that's what I want to accomplish. And I feel like when people realize that, when people see that, I feel like I will feel accomplished as well.
Oh yeah. You told me you want to hit what 1,000 followers?
Yeah, we're really close, but I feel like I'm not close enough. But yes,
You put so much pressure on yourself. Look at you.
I have to, man. I can't stay comfortable.
Of
I I feel like when I'm comfortable, I get lazy, and when I get lazy, I stop doing things. So I
Mhm.
have to put a little pressure on me.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I put pressure on myself too, but you know what? I like chilling.
Yeah, I mean, again, like it's the end of the world if I don't get to 1,000. No, but I think it would be nice, especially because it will like it will just show us that like we're on the right track.
You guys
Um,
are on the right track. You guys doing the great things.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
I mean, I love the spotlights. I love the memes. I think you guys doing okay. To be honest, like I said, one of my favorite Instagram account to follow because you're so diverse. It's not just like one thing that like a question of like, hey, do you as an immigrant, do you like this or that? Like, no, you actually have like the recent post that you guys did is like a statistic.
Yeah, we try to be like we try to change the. We also still experimenting. This is the time like to try different posts to see what people like, what people
Mm.
dislike. Uh, but like as you said, like the spotlight, that's my favorite thing. And it's a funny story because that was when we first started the page, my brother. I told him like I didn't want to do a spotlight. I was like because for me like uh, because we only had 100 followers at the time, we were very new. I was like I feel like I was feeling like we were doing these people a disservice, like talking about their experience with such a small amount of followers because I feel like their story it's so precious, it's so important, it's so unique that a lot of people should see it. So many followers should be it. Like, and so I wanted to take my time before I would take this responsibility of doing a spotlight and talking about these people. But we started it because our first person that we spotlight, Anthony, he came up to us was like, I want you guys to talk about my experience in your page and vice versa.
Mm.
I was like, really? Like us? Why us? He's like, I feel like and we just clicked about experience. We have so many things in common and that he really liked that. So he was our first spotlight post. And then many other people like contact us afterwards and they just validated that we had something special in our hands and we wanted to continue doing it. And ever since then, like we met, like, besides your story, we have so many amazing stories. Like, these two friends that come from two different countries, met, started a podcast together. Now they live separate, but they still do it together. Like we had a therapist that like helps immigrant us help with their mental health in their different countries. We have friends that like also came from different countries and two best friends that also started a podcast. Like we had a career coach like this previous week. Like she currently lives in Abu Dhabi. Like the stories have been endless, and we have so many new ones that we can't wait to share with our followers and soon to be followers, hopefully. It's been such an honor to just tell these stories, and I think, and also my brother as well. Like he has done such a great job, like getting these questions and just like understand them, their point of view. Because again, like you said, like it's not just about like this and this. We're trying to understand their background, where they come from, what they're passionate about, and use that as the spotlight. Because we don't want to just a cut and dry questions. I think that wouldn't be fair to them, and it wouldn't be fair to this whole experience. Because like this go back to what we first talked about at the beginning. You can't put things in one box. There's so many boxes and there's so many things to check.
Exactly. Have you ever said no to someone?
No, of course, never. I feel like sometimes like we had a few people that like we wanted to say no and they dropped out, and then so maybe like they just didn't work out. But I will never say no. Like no matter what, like if they say yes, that's a privilege that we have, that we can tell their stories, and we could never turn it down 100%. But then for me, like we definitely want genuine people. Like we get people. It's like we sometimes we got a few people where we're like, oh, but you have to post it on this day and do this. Like that's not what we're here for. Like we're not an agency, like we don't have a contract with Coca-Cola that we had to sponsor on National Soda Day. Like we're just two brothers. We want to tell our stories, and we want people to generally understand our missions and our goal. And sometimes like people get hung up on like different things, and if you're not okay with it, then it's okay. Maybe this is not the page for you. That's also to want to be understand. Like the people we have so far all have been people that generally follow us, like our content, and believe in that experience that we kind of quote unquote preach. And that's what's important to us. Like we've been like, I wish I wrote a list down of all the people who've been on our spotlight so far, because each one of the stories have meant so much to me and made me like so thankful. And I'm just so excited about the next ones as well. Like we have people reaching out to them saying like, we love you guys. Like, thank you for sharing this story. It's just like, it means so much. And like, I feel like it's something that famous people say, like people like, so that's like, it's like, why are you saying these things? Like, I couldn't believe it will happen to us, you know, like, because we're so small, we're just starting out, and it just makes me feel so blessed, like, and so like thankful about our experience and the followers that we have so far.
Yeah, I agree. Like with the podcast, sometimes people reaches out and say things, and I'm like, really? Okay.
Yeah, like,
You know, like, oh, you're such an inspiration, or you're doing a great job. I'm like, I'm just talking shit, bro.
we're just living our life, man, and we're just so lucky because we know a lot of people that haven't had the opportunity to be where we are, and so we had to stay humble, because you can still get there, like you can still end up like that. So you have to stay focused, and you have to stay true to your roots. I think that's the most important part.
Definitely. I think we're there, but I want to ask you one more question. Is that okay?
Of course.
So, what's in store for Emanuele in the near future?
That's the $1 million questions. I think what's in store for Emmanuel, it's a change of scenery for starting. I think I would love to move to LA hopefully by the end of next year. So putting it out there, hopefully by next year, I'm gonna listen to this episode and I'm gonna be like, I did it. I'm in LA. I think that's the biggest thing for me now. Just the career, and all the little things. I think what's the biggest in store for me, it's like going there. I think I want to experience the West Coast. I want to see how life is there, and LA. It was in my list. It was one of those things where like, okay, like New York, then LA. I made that list in college, and now like I graduated in college. Like, if you don't count grad school, I graduated from college almost 5 years ago. So I think it's time to finally cross that out of my list.
Awesome. Do you have any last remarks?
Just to thank you, man. Thank you for pushing me to come here. I know I give you a lot of delays, but I'm glad I could finally do this. This has been awesome, and for everyone that is listening, definitely step yourself out of your comfort zone. Whether it's with me, with Aaron, with anyone else, just do it, man. You only live once. That's my final remark.
Awesome. Emmanuele, thank you for coming on. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
My man.
Take care, man.
Yeah, you too.
Again, Manny, thank you for coming on the podcast. I really do appreciate it. Thank you, listeners, for listening. This is Aaron Deliosa for An Immigrant's Life. I'll see you guys later.